All right, it says live there, so let me just double check here on all the other places. Gives me a check on Facebook. It gives me a check on all these other ones. Oh yeah, we are live. I see it.
Right. Well, there it is.
All right, cool. I'm gonna put my phone here just so that I can see if anything pops up, maybe. Awesome. All right.
Do you hear me clearly?
I hear you. I hear you.
We
And it's
actually did a
working.
mic check before we went live, but yeah, hello. We're
It's
good.
working. It's working. Okay, cool. So as I shared that this is going to be the first podcast that we're doing live, and if we have any viewers, hello, welcome. I see already people are popping in, so that's really awesome. Thing with the StreamYard here that I'm streaming from, if you comment on there, I'm not going to see it. You gotta go and you gotta like approve it. So just write your name if you can, and I'll try to remind myself to say that throughout. Who knows? But I've got my phone over here. I got
We are very organized, apparently, here.
yeah, for some amateurs, we're really organized. Okay. So, welcome to the Better Budgeting Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Reese, and this is exciting. This is really exciting for me because this is a live stream, and I've kind of wanted to do a live stream for a little bit, and it's boring to do a live stream on your own. So, in comes George here, George Carello, and George, you and I have been connected for about 7 months now. You were on the podcast before. We talked about girl math, which is a fun subject to talk about, but tell people who haven't listened to that episode yet, tell
Sure.
people who you are, where you're from, all the good details.
All the deets itself. So George Corbello, I am a financial coach, been doing it for about 3 years. I'm originally from New York and moved, kept going down south. So I lived for 15 years in Pennsylvania, and we were 5 years here in Florida. So I'm in Tampa, Florida, that region right now. Excited because my family, we just bought a house in Palmetto. So we're Palmetto, Florida. So just further south. Very excited. It's awesome from that perspective. Love coaching, love working with people, helping them better themselves when it comes to their situation. Used to do it again. I do it from a corporate standpoint, and I just last 5 years, actually 5 or 6 years now, been wanting to really focus on the money part because money, it makes the world go round. And yet, it's the most frustrating thing when it comes to money itself is having that control to be able to, tell it what to do. So that's kind of what we do, right? That's, trying to gain that control so we can have a little bit more fun and not get ourselves into trouble. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, absolutely. Where were you in Pennsylvania? Because I'm in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned you're on the York side though, but I was Lancaster and Wyomissing. I was in Wyomissing for 15 years.
That's like an hour and a half from me.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that. I thought you were on the York side, but that's not that far.
No.
That's not that far. Yeah, I used to drive by your house, when I used to visit North Carolina and all the family down south.
Get on 15 and go south.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, how cool. The more you know, right? Here, let's just do a little like icebreaker. I've got just a little story. It's a personal story here for people. And I guess it could relate to finances, but my son Jack, he's 7, and he has been asking me to make banana bread for like weeks now. Okay. All right. So we buy bananas. I buy like 5, 6 at a time. People eat them. Okay. Can't make banana bread because people keep eating these bananas. So I went to the store and I bought 14 bananas.
That's
because people are, it's a lot of bananas, but you think about it, you use 4 or 5 for banana bread. And I was like, I'll use 4 or 5. That leaves, 8, 9 or whatever for people to eat.
For all the scavengers at home.
Totally reasonable. Not one person has ate a damn banana yet, George.
Of course. It's like, no, that's too much. I only need it when there's 4. That's
right.
Then we attack them. When there's abundance, we don't want them. And that happens with us with sometimes with strawberries, and that does happen with bananas for sure. I feel like there's some weeks everybody wants the banana. It's easy to pick up in the morning, and then some weeks you're just like, what? We had them for 5 days. What happened here? Like, so yeah, totally get that. Again, I know you have youngins. I have two youngins, but one is 20 and the other is 15. So they're not they're still my babies. I love my babies. But yes, those are the youngins itself. And I don't want to get in trouble. I know Happy Valentine's Day, post. I probably in trouble for that already as well. 23 years married to my high school sweetheart. So we've been together since high school junior year. So I don't know how she does it. Like I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, how'd you do
That is so dear. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We've been together for 11. And I was like, just give me charcuterie board for Valentine's.
I was just like, can we just get sleep? Can we go to bed early? Because that'd be awesome. Because I feel like we've been up so long the last few days, just with, again, new house things. So again, the honey-do list is long.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's absolutely what we've been doing. But
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have some exciting news here in this podcast, and it is all about the growth of the Better Budgeting Playbook. And I started this business back in 2020, and it was something that I just felt my heart being tugged towards. My husband and I, we fixed our marriage. We turned our finances around. All of that I delve into in lesson 1, in episode 1 of this podcast. You can go back, you can listen to it, but it's really, really grown so much that I left my job, my full-time job, in August of 2022. And at that point, it's kind of like that scary jump where you're like, is this going to work, or am I going to crash and burn and have to go find another job to make things work? That has not happened.
No pressure.
No pressure whatsoever.
None.
And I'm not even going to say that hasn't happened yet. I'm not even going to use that word. I'm just saying
all positive.
It just hasn't happened. Right. Yeah, that doesn't happen. But with that comes new levels, and new levels come new devils. And I noticed that the playbook was just growing and growing and growing. And it was becoming really consuming for my life. And the whole point that I started this business was, 1, to help people in their finances, but 2, to create financial and just time freedom for myself. And I found myself like really, really busy all of a sudden, really, really busy. And I had people that would want to work with me, and it would be 4-5 weeks out. And I just didn't want to run a business like that. So George here is a fantastic coach. Been coaching for 20-ish years, right, George?
Yeah, no, I've been helping people, grow from a career standpoint, and obviously from a development standpoint, and then of course last 4 years in regards to the focus. Again, right. I hear your story. It's like there's a passion about how do we get in control on that money itself. So that's been the last 3 to 4 years from that. Yeah. My journey started 5, but helping people has been in that 3 to 4 range. So for sure.
And George, you noticed that I was going a little crazy.
You had some stress. You had some stress about, wanting to be the next huge money expert in the field itself. And I figured, where could we help? I'm always in that boat of like, how do we help people grow? And for me, the opportunity to kind of partner with someone as excellent as you knows how to, really help people and drive that audience. And it's like, again, I've learned in my career, you have to surround yourself with people who are going to make you better. And again, obviously I've identified you as one of those individuals. So the opportunity to be able to do that and help you grow, but also the opportunity for you to help me grow itself. I'm very excited to.
Yeah, absolutely. So George is now part of the Better Budgeting Playbook family. He is a coach that is available for clients as well to take not off of my plate. I'm keeping all of my current clients. Sorry, George. They love me and I love them.
I got to build the rapport. I get it.
But new people that I feel like would jive with George, they're going to go in George's hands for now. And he's become very familiar of how I run my business, how I structure the playbook, why I do it the way that I do it. And the great thing is that we can bounce off of each other for our own clients. If I know that there's something that I really am struggling with the client, I can bring you in and vice versa. And I think this is just such a good move because I've been looking at different business models on coaching, specifically financials. And the number one thing that I hear the most is that people are really, really reserved when it comes to their finances. They don't really want to share it with the public. They want to work in a private setting. And I couldn't take any more private setting kind of clients, and the group coaching, I love group coaching to an extent, but more and more people didn't want that. They were still jumping onto the one-on-one
They want the one-on-one.
clients.
Mhm.
So George is going to be taking on some clients into the Better Budgeting Playbook. He's fantastic. I know you are going to love him. We are actually going to be doing a live broadcast for the podcast once a month. So George is going to hop in here. So people are going to get to know you even more. And I'm excited. I'm really excited about it.
I will bring the comedy relief. Unfortunately, I do not take life as serious as I should. So yes, but I do take your situation and obviously in the support very seriously. But you got to smile a little bit. You got to have fun a little bit, and that's one. I think that's one way. You can get to the old age as the old age and old man like myself. That's how we'll get to.
George, you're not even that old.
Well, tell my
My
body.
ideal client is like within your.
I think the grays here will beg to differ.
Oh no. Listen, the number of grays that are I'm saying this live on social media. The
That's
number
trash.
of grays that are happening over here is just too much. All right. So here's how it goes. Y'all, if you are jumping on, say hello. You are more than welcome to ask questions, comment, do whatever you please. I believe we are live streaming on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm only watching Facebook right now because I only got one set of eyes. We'll figure it out as time goes. But if you have questions, if you want to ask George something or myself something, or have something to say about what we are chatting about,
post a comment.
Yep, post a comment. Okay. Also, posting comments helps with the algorithm and more people seeing this. So if you feel like this is really fun and you want people to kind of hear about this financial message that we're about to share, then please share this, comment, do all the things that y'all know what to do. All right. So George, you found this article and I just had to chuckle at some of these things. And we're going to go over it. It is 7 clever ways to pay off credit card debt. And it was posted on financebuzz.com, which, by the way, you send me a lot of articles from that place.
So can I just, again, it's weird, right? Because I have the Google News. So I usually, I have to be honest. Like I look for some of my hobbies. So video games and wrestling. Yes, I'm 15 at heart. Leave me alone. But there are financial things about the market, political things. These usually stand out because you get there's so much information out there today about how to get out of debt, how do you invest, how do you do this. So for me, I usually come in and go, let's analyze this. Like, is this makes sense? Is this going to work? And of course, I'm hoping to bring like the TikToks and things like that into it as well, because those, oh boy, what a rabbit hole that can be itself. But it is that's where I just wanted to kind of, I like reading and I like to, kind of the clickbait. What's this title thing saying? Oh, okay.
You are going to be the man in your 80s that clicks the clickbait in the emails and all of your money is taken.
Yeah, well, I'll read the article about how that happened, but I definitely, you're right. Maybe as I get older, I'll be like, the virtual email that comes through my headset.
We have a comment here. So StreamYard, which is the platform that we're using, it doesn't let me see your name, so I apologize, but it just says saying hi. Nice to meet you, George. So somebody is
thank
happy
you.
to see you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right. So I have an opinion about this, so let's get to it. Okay. First off, the very beginning was a red flag for me because the article is titled 7 things or 7 clever ways, and there's only freaking 6 on this article.
I was hoping you would catch it too. Thought it was funny. That's kind of why let's talk about it, because oops, they forgot one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the other thing I noticed was this article wasn't really helpful. It was more of ad driven. But here's the thing. There's people out there that are reading this stuff and believing it. And they're like, okay, well, these are the ways that we pay off credit card debt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me just go at it. And they're just, they're not the best methods.
Yeah. But that's the thing too. For me, if I'm just looking at Google News or any of these type of news things, you're thinking, wow, this is an actual, it doesn't say sponsored, or it's an actual article that you can click, read. And you're thinking wow, this must be a reputable news source if it's on Google News. And just not really. Be careful in regards to what you read. But I thought it was we can talk about it and go, do we agree? Like,
Yeah.
do they at least get something right as part of the article? That
Yeah.
was the thing I was kind of playing for.
The very beginning is right. Okay, I did agree with this, and it said, quote, "Here's the secret. Getting out of credit card debt might actually be easier than you think. Yes, it may take some time and a little work, but it is possible as long as you have the right plan." And I was
Right.
like, that is the most truth this article has.
Starting off on the right note, you're thinking, okay, we got it. That's
After you,
this
yeah,
must be reputable. It must be.
yeah,
And I agree with you as well. It's so easy to get into debt. It's so easy that we have so many things that are available to us, but it's the patience to actually go and say, we're going to tackle this big mountain, this hill, whatever the debt might be. We're going to tackle it. How we're going to tackle it itself is obviously in question, but
yeah.
I would agree. It's going to take some time to get through that process.
Yeah. What I typically say for clients is, it took you a while to get here.
Hmm.
It is probably going to take a while to get out of here. All right. But what we can do is we can set up a plan so that you can see it all unfold. How
Sure.
long is it going to take? All that stuff, which is helpful, but it's still going to take some time. So,
Absolutely.
all right.
Absolutely.
Number one on 7, but only 6
Only
clever
6.
ways to pay off credit card debt is ask this company to pay off your credit card debt. And it goes into it and it says National Debt Relief could help,
Right.
which, by the way, is a debt settlement company. And how do you feel about debt settlement companies?
So as you can breathe a little bit, right? A lot of times it's really more of something that you can do on your own. It's basically you're paying another company to stop paying your bills and then accumulate all of this money to see if you can negotiate with that company, later down the road, that brand later down the road to say, hey, I'd like to settle my $10,000 debt for $5,000, whatever it might be. And you save up for that money. But in this case, though, you're paying another company to basically do the same thing.
Right.
So for me, that doesn't make sense because again, they're collecting the money, they're taking a fee. It's never doing it for free. So there's a fee that's associated with that. But they're ruining your credit. All of that is happening whether you're using the company or not. So not an ideal situation. Again, I'm not going to judge to say, this is not a great option. If you look at it, it's definitely not a great option, but it is an option. And
Yes.
we're in those crisis modes, you got to look at all of our, opportunities to see what we can do to fix the issue.
Absolutely. I swing on the side of debt relief is really helpful if you've got very limited income by government standards. So Social Security
Mm,
disability, only a VA benefit coming in.
right.
Like if you have a very limited income, these are an okay option. But
Right.
yeah, all of this stuff that these debt relief companies are doing, these debt settlement companies are doing, you can do yourself. And I'm not in favor of it. If clients come to me, that's not the thing we're starting with
Yes.
early.
Mhm.
It's because like you said, it's all the stuff that you can do yourself, but there's just so many negatives that are tied to it. It's ruining your credit. It takes forever to fix. And most of the time we can kind of clean things up naturally
To even
without, going into collections and fighting
right.
these and trying to negotiate and stuff. I'm just thinking about a client that they've worked with me since last April, so almost a year now. And they came to me and they're like, yeah, we talked with a debt settlement company and they didn't know it was a debt settlement company. They just thought it was a consolidation
That
loan,
right.
which
Be
is
careful.
another thing that bothers me is that a lot
Yeah.
of these companies, they disguise themselves as what they really aren't. But it was going to take them, I don't know, 7, 8, 12 years, I don't know, somewhere in there. And we did the numbers and I was like, well, you guys, we can do this on our own without going into collections and you can get it paid off in half the amount of time by
Right.
not doing anything, but just having a plan in place. No
Yeah.
extra money put towards anything.
Right.
So,
One thing I would say too, just before it's student loans don't fall into that category as well. So you got to be careful on what debt you're
yeah.
trying to include as part of that. So be very cautious about that.
Yes, yeah. We have another comment that came in. Hello. It doesn't let me see who you are because
Hello.
StreamYard is just not a fan of that. For some reason, you got to go to their website and approve. So just know that we say hi too. All right, number 2. It says, here was the clickbait. Get out of debt. Get out of 20,000 plus in debt. And goes in to talk about JG Wentworth, which is a company. It's a mammoth company.
Yes.
Really, it is. It covers a lot of different areas of finances. They have a really, really great jingle going on, and that's about as far as it goes.
Right.
And I have a really great story about JG Wentworth. So, in the very early years of my relationship with my husband, when we were just about to get married, we're pregnant, we're trying to start the new life, have the American dream and stuff. We called JG Wentworth because my husband had some money, and we wanted to cash that out and an insurance policy, basically. Sure. And still, to this day, 10 years later, no, 8 years later, they still call me because we did not accept their terms. We are still on their call list. They are persistent. They know exactly what our loan was. They knew exactly what our insurance policy, who it's being held by. They still have all that information, and they are calling 8 years later.
That's how they make their money in regards to, again, another fee program that they take a little bit to give you some cash, the cash advancement, cash flow, whatever it might be, a loan, whatever, again, depending on the the advancement. So yeah, just be careful. Again, another one of those. Yep. Probably not a great, again, it is an option, just not a great, not one of those good ones that we would recommend in the beginning.
Yeah. I always say to people, clients specifically, we have lots of options.
Yeah.
We can choose not to pay our mortgage. Is paying our mortgage the right thing to do versus going on vacation? Absolutely.
If you want to live under a roof, it might be a good idea.
Yeah, but you do have that choice not to do that and go on vacation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And definitely a good comparison there.
So I would say this number 1 and 2 out of 7, but it's really 6. It's the same thing. So there's no really help there. Okay.
No, not yet. We're losing. Good quote in the beginning, and first 2 are not so good. But let's see if they get some right.
Number 3 is pay no interest on balance transfers until nearly 2026. And I like this with caution.
Of course.
With caution.
Again, another option.
It's an option.
Another option. Here's the thing. If there's opportunities, now, if you're in crisis mode, it'd probably be hard to find options to be able to do a balance transfer. But if certain of those, if those things are available to you, being able to transfer high interest type debt over to a 0% allows you then to be able to attack it and not have it grow while you're paying it down. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. Again, I imagine the caution, right? The cautionary tale, got to be careful, is we're not using the old card that we transferred the money from, because we don't want to get into a position where it was great to take advantage of a zero balance or no interest in a balance transfer, but then recreate the debt because we think we've solved the problem. So again,
you're basically telling me that, I have to change my behavior.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's all about mindset. It ain't about numbers, people. That's the one thing you're going to learn quick.
I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people and they say, I've taken out a HELOC, home equity loan. I've done the balance transfers and I've racked the cards back up. And it's because you have to fix the behavior. Absolutely. And as a coach, there's very little things that I will say that you have to do, but that is one of those things you have to. If you are going to change your finances around, you have to address the behavior, because nothing else is going to change. The numbers won't change. Nothing else. It's just going to get worse if we don't learn what are we doing wrong and what do I need to change.
There were certain things that you did, impulse buying, certain things. We look at the needs and the wants, whatever reasoning we have when it comes to purchases, that has to change. Yes, you've identified the problem. Fantastic. But if the option itself, it gives you a false sense of like, wow, this is relief. Because again, you're right. Maybe the balance is interest zero for a few, and the monthly payment is lower. It gives you some relief, but it's a false sense of relief. We got to be careful because, again, if we take advantage of the situation, we're able to pay it down. Fantastic. But if that false sense of relief allows us to keep spending, that gets us into trouble. So I agree with you there. Yeah,
absolutely. I love it. It is a tactic that I use a lot with clients if it's possible.
It's fun. It's an option for sure.
And it does great, but we really, really, really dive into the behavior and understanding. And it's funny, I had a client I just talked with this past week, and we were talking about a Wells Fargo card because they did open it and did a balance transfer. And then they started using that card and using that card and using it and
There
using
you
it
go.
and using it. And now we have this like running joke that it is locked away in the dungeon. They don't use the Wells Fargo anymore. Daddy Wells
Put it in
Fargo
the
is gone.
refrigerator. Put it in the freezer. Don't worry about it. You don't need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And they're doing great. They're doing great because
Good.
we had to adjust the behavior. And really their big one was eating out. And I know for a lot of people that are listening to this or watching this, that is a big portion of people spending money is not having to cook dinner.
Yeah.
And for my clients, that was the same thing. And if you can change that behavior and put systems in place to help you from those splurges and impulses, you're winning. You're winning.
Totally agree. Totally agree with that. It's one of those kind of things. I've seen some clients as well where whatever the spending it could be food, it could be, the kids' activities. There's a lot of things that can drive up, what you're spending on each month. But if you don't know where it's going, I think that's what gets us into trouble, where it's like you're thinking, oh, I have a good handle on it, but then you're borrowing money,
Yeah.
charging or something like that to actually offset some of those costs. Again, we just got to be a little bit more aware of how we're spending our money each month to be able to be more in control of that. So
Yeah.
makes
I
sense
agree.
there. Okay.
I agree.
All right. What's
number 4 is earned cash back on everyday purchases with this rare account. All right. I thought this was interesting. I hadn't even heard of this account yet. So it is actually a checking account that you can have rewards on, just like a credit card. So a credit card, you get like
that's the new kind of option itself when it comes to, because remember, it's on most credit cards that is the case. Now they're trying to see what they can do from a debit card perspective. It's a great idea, but again, we got to be careful in regards to it's still spending. Hopefully, you're spending now cash now. And that's not even debt. Now it's like I need to earn money, earn credit or points or whatever it might be specific to the money we're spending. It's still the same concern. It's great to earn it, but let's not get ourselves into trouble where we're spending just to spend.
Yeah, it is still a requirement for a budget.
Yeah.
But here's how I describe credit cards, and this will fall into the same type, even though it's a debit card, it is just a vehicle for how you buy stuff. It is not the end all be all, but you still need a budget. Like if you are going to go spend $50 at the grocery store, you got to plan for that $50 somewhere. Otherwise, we're rolling that over, and then that's how we create debt. So I liked this personally. It's a Discover cashback debit checking account. I'm not sponsoring this by any means.
No, it's an opportunity right now. Anything that earns kind of points or cash or interest, again, high yield savings accounts probably. And again, let's take advantage of some of those opportunities. CDs are getting popular again with, savings for emergency funds, things like that. There's opportunities to be able to earn money when money is just sitting there. But again, I would say this would be the more advanced.
Yes.
Like once you've got your budget in place and have that stability in what you're doing, these are great ways to be able to, you're already spending money on food, right? You're already earning, spending the money itself on other things that are part of that. Why not have the opportunity to earn that 1%? 1%, it did give some real life numbers there. Again, it's, even if it's $3,000 a month, you get $30. That does add up, from a yearly standpoint. So
at max, you can earn $30 a month or $360 a year, which is great. Like some people, $360, that's great for them. But in small, 30 a month increments,
it's still 1% though. It's not. We're not making. We're not making coin and bank the same. This is not one of those kind of opportunities. But it is an opportunity. Again, you're already using your debit card to make those purchases. There is a good opportunity to be able to make some of that. 1%, why not?
And I don't know, I didn't check into this. I'm not sure about this card, if it had anything to do with credit score or your credit report or anything like that. I have no idea.
Now we'll have to Yeah.
I just clicked
I didn't want
into
to
it.
click on the link. I was just reading the article. That's it. I was just like, not yet.
Well,
Not ready for that.
I clicked until it said that you needed your name and your address and all the things. And I was like, nope, because I don't need those. But from my understanding, it didn't look like there was anything needed for credit. Oh yeah, it says with no impact to your credit to apply.
Right.
So and no monthly fees.
It's a cash account. So I don't think
Yeah.
there's, I mean, as long as you have other credit or checking accounts, I don't think it'd be that hard to get.
Yeah. And
All right.
I like it. I like the thought, but you have to have a plan in place. You have to.
Still. Damn, that budget thing again. Oh my gosh.
All right. Number 5, this little clickbait. At first, I was like, get the heck out of here. This is
Wait a
not
second.
right. All right. Number 5 is cancel your car insurance. Okay.
Don't do that. Not yet.
No,
Let's go into why.
But
what
the article is basically saying the concept is shop around for your car insurance. Yes. And that's important to do. And we say that often here in the playbook. Go look and see other avenues. Go get second opinions. Figure this all out. Kind of just find new stuff here. Shop around because you are a customer. You can go to other places. And people.
When's the last time you looked at most of us sign up and then like 5 years later, you're like, oh, this is, this is still great. There is opportunity, especially we've noticed, all insurances seem to have been going up in the past few years. It's never take advantage of your insurance brokers to really shop around and see what's out there, because you'll be surprised. I mean, if you can save $50, $100 a month just in switching and saving, from that kind of insurance, I mean, again, that's $50 or $100 extra in your pocket each month. That does add up for the year as well.
But the article does say 7 clever ways to pay off credit card debt. So if you take your car insurance and you switch it out and you get $50 a month, ideally, this article should say to apply that then to your debt. But here's the thing, y'all. You have to do whatever step you are in the playbook here. Okay. We don't just jump in and we're like, okay, first session, we're paying debt. I want you all to pay off debt. We need cash flow payoff, debt payoff. Like we don't do that. We say, okay, let's look at this whole picture. Do you have things? Do we need to attack this debt? Is there anybody in collections right now? We look at the whole thing. Yeah. This article is kind of saying that, okay, go do this and then take that money and throw it to debt. You might not be there yet. And that's okay. Good thing about me and George in the playbook is that we're going to walk you through what you need to do next. That's our job. Okay. Yeah. We're going to show you all the options and say, here, this is my recommendation. Get some savings in the savings account. You're too exposed right now. All right. Yep. After that, let's reassess the budget. Let's keep that cleaned up, but let's really focus on savings. Then we're going to look at debt. Then we're going to look at more savings. Then we're going to look on this vacation that you've got coming up in 4 months or whatever. So many different
things. 3, but yes, I appreciate that. I gotta work on
many different things are happening for different people. So you have to look at it that way. Is that this isn't a one size fit all. Do you agree?
No, I agree. I think you have to, as part of your situation, you'll figure out what that extra money you do want to save. Obviously, we don't want to overspend on anything that's in the budget, but whatever the extra money, what are you going to do with it? And it's really going to come back to what are your goals? What are your priorities? What are what is important to you as part of your budget itself? And that's, if you're in that debt collection, or paying off debt, then that's the first thing, that's where the money should go. If you're saving for your emergency fund, that's where the money is going to go. It just really depends on what your goals are and what your priority is at that time to be able to go, if there's extra money, what am I doing with that money? Here's, it's going to be reflective of your situation.
Yep. And number 6,
not the last, but I think is the last, but okay, that's okay.
Number 6 of 7, but there's only 6 of clever ways to pay off your debt. Borrow up to $50,000 to finally crush your debt.
Is it? I mean, why didn't I think of that? Like, just borrow my way out of debt. Isn't that what we tried to do the first time? You're absolutely right there. Yep, you're absolutely right.
So the article is going on and saying, hey, get a personal loan. All right. And we discussed with the balance transfer, you had said that may not be possible for you if you're kind of in this crisis situation and you are overdrawn on credit or you're late and your
Yep.
credit score's not great. So this might be an option for some of you and some of it's not. I'm not 100% opposed to this. And reason being is the same thing that I said in the balance transfer. And that is that the behavior has to be addressed.
Sure.
If we can save money by lowering interest rates, consolidating debt, I will probably say that we could do this. Okay.
Yeah.
But I want to know 100% confidence that that person that is sitting on the other side of my screen and I'm coaching, they know what their triggers are with their finances. They
Yep.
know exactly how to adjust their budget. They understand, excuse me, they understand that it can be a slippery slope pretty quickly. So
debt consolidation, right? You have the loans, you can do personal loans, you can do HELOC, you can do a line of credit, any of those. Again, there's options. Again, your mortgage brokers, your banks, they're going to suggest these kind of things itself. But once again, it feels this sense of relief. We're like, wow, the debt is paid. And I was like, no, the debt's been transferred. You still have the debt. You just need to now be able to, how you're going to address the debt itself. And I think that's the key. We want to look for ways to make things easy, but we have to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position where now I've created something that's easy for me. Fantastic.
Great.
But then I'm now not changing the behaviors, racking up debt, continuing the bad behaviors. And then a year from now, we're now double in debt. We have this loan that we're paying off, and now we have new debts that we've accumulated because we thought everything was good. So I agree with you. You have to have a plan. You have to have a budget. That's going to be important. But it's then, again, what is the discipline? What is the habits that we're changing? What are some of the things that we're going to do differently so we don't go into this situation again? And I think that's that's the answer. We want that answer, right?
Yep.
So unfortunately, 100%. I don't think we can borrow our way out of that.
No, we cannot. And that's why, George, you're part of the Better Budgeting Playbook now. Because we're on the same level.
I passed.
Yeah. A+. All right, cool. Well, that's all we have for today. And thank you for those of you who have joined and those of you who have commented. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Sam had mentioned eating out is my downfall. Is way too high last year. I'm like, but I love eating out. That's my vice, but it's in the budget, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah,
that's the one
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, thanks so much for joining for this episode of the Better Budgeting Podcast, and we'll see you all later.